Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! My husband and I have been married for a year now, but have been dating for 3 years. My husband has 2 kids from a previous marriage, but they live full-time with him. One is 5 and the other is 7. On Sunday, it was just me and the kids, and when I asked them what they wanted to eat, I suggested things that they usually eat like oatmeal and fruit or protein pancakes and so on. I'm a first-generation Mexican-American despite me looking very white myself, so I don't know how to say weenie con huevo. So I said I would make them some, and if they wanted to try it. They said yes, so I cut up the hot dogs and poured the eggs on the pan, scrambled them and added a little bit of cheese and put it on a piece of bread, lettuce and tomato, and added a little bit of ketchup on the side of their plate. They loved it and said it was so delicious. My husband and I had went out, so they stayed with their grandparents. We got back on Sunday afternoon and my mother-in-law pulled us aside and said that the kids were asking her to make the sandwich that I made them and asked us why I would give kids hot dogs with eggs for breakfast and kept commenting on how unhealthy it was. I was taken aback, but I also had to remember that she's an older middle-class white woman that lived in the suburbs of an affluent white neighborhood, so I explained to her that growing up, eating that was something my mom did, like many Hispanic people did. My husband stepped in and said, "Hey, calm down, I've had it. It's really good and I don't mind the kids have it, so please." I thought that was the end of that, but now Thanksgiving is coming and we had agreed that it would be at our house. And now she called me earlier this week that she thought it would be best if she did the cooking this year and at her house, because she kept asking what I was planning to make and how I made things because she didn't want anything weird on an American holiday. I told her, yeah, I know, I was born here. I've celebrated Thanksgiving all my life. What's something weird I could possibly make? And then she said it. "Well, I was just wondering if you were gonna make a Mexican twist on things." I said that is very racist and she gasped saying how could I say that? It's not racist because I'm Mexican and I was the one giving the kids weird things. Shouldn't send them to school with ethnic food so they don't get bullied. I hung up and I was scared to tell my husband, but I told him when he came home from work and he was very angry and told his mom that she could stay home and eat dry bland turkey if she wanted, because we were having Thanksgiving and if she wanted to come, she needed to apologize and mean it. I know what she said is wrong, but I feel bad because she said I ruined Thanksgiving being sensitive and dramatic and that now the family will be split up because of me. And now for some comments. You're not in the wrong, the family won't be split up because of you, but because of your mother-in-law's racist actions. Equating Mexican food with weird food is racist. It isn't sensitive or dramatic to be insulted by what she said. She's just trying to shift blame when she's the one at fault. I am glad your husband has your back. I'm an old white lady, 54, and we had that same exact dish when I was growing up and I've made it for my children. You're not in the wrong. Thanks for your post. You brought back good memories for me. I feel bad for you though. Maybe you guys should have some space from your mother-in-law. As I read your post, I kept thinking, man, this mother-in-law sounds so ignorant, and then I remembered racism is ignorance. You're not in the wrong. Yay to your husband supporting you. I get her wanting a traditional Thanksgiving meal on a holiday, but holy hell, your mother-in-law is being racist. She called Mexican food weird, which I find ironic because the breakfast you described involves hot dogs, which screams America to me and also sounds delicious. She also indicated your stepkids will be bullied for bringing ethnic food to class. I doubt this will be the case, but the implication was manipulative and rude. Guys, before we move to the next story, I would appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel. I can see that around 75% of my audience isn't subscribed. I know it doesn't matter to you to sub or not as long as you're getting my videos on your home feed whenever I publish them, but believe me, it really makes a difference for me at least. So please, press that subscribe button. It won't take anything away from you. Thank you. We usually do intermittent fasting, meaning we don't eat after 5 p.m., but when I'm on my periods, my appetite gets several times bigger. Last time I craved a chicken sandwich with chili and I asked my mother-in-law whether she wanted any. She said no, she wasn't hungry, and since my husband doesn't eat at that time, I only made one. I quickly gobbled it up, and when my mother-in-law came into the kitchen again, the plate was already wiped clean. She asked me in shock, "You're done that fast?" And I was pretty embarrassed and told her that it's my favorite. Then she said, "And you didn't think to at least offer people staying in the house with you a bite?" I was confused and told her, "But you said you weren't hungry. And Jake, my husband, doesn't eat at this hour. You didn't think to store some in the fridge in case I do get hungry?" I told her I'm sorry, I really didn't think that far ahead. I'll make a new one. But then I remembered that we were all out of chili and sheepishly told her I'ma go buy some. She told me not to bother, but I insisted. But even after looking at several convenience stores, I couldn't find the brand I was looking for, and since it was nearly midnight by then, I didn't have many options. I called Jake and asked him what I should do, and he told me to just get one from a snack near us. When I got home though and brought it to my mother-in-law, she refused to eat it and said I told you to forget it, and that she doesn't eat takeout. She insisted that she didn't want it, nor did she want anything else as she wasn't hungry, that she had just smelled the chili earlier and wanted a bite. I told her okay, if you need anything, let me know. I went back to the kitchen and ate that sandwich too. The next day, Jake and I wake up to find our mother-in-law gone with a text sent to my husband that says she won't be putting her foot in our house ever again for the amount of disrespect I showed her. Apparently she did get hungry later and went looking for the sandwich and couldn't find it. Jake was livid that I ate that one too and told me this is my fault and I should go with him to apologize to her. I got angry too and told him why couldn't she just have asked directly instead of going around all these circles in the first place. He ignored me and grabbed his jacket and keys and left. Am I really in the wrong here? And now for some comments. You're not in the wrong. If someone tells you they don't want any, they don't get any. Words mean things. You're not in the wrong. But I'm so proud of you for accidentally outing this woman's manipulative behavior. Chaotic good. I just picture everyone in this house sneaking back into the kitchen to eat random food, and the next person being so sad that it's gone. To be clear, you went way above and beyond by trying to replicate the chicken chili sandwich the first time. That was far more than required by standards of kindness. You asked and she declined. Twice. Girl, she's setting you up at that point, but you literally ate right through her plan. I love it. You're not in the wrong. What the holy hell did I just read? The topper is that your husband thinks you did something wrong. Forget your mother-in-law. You've got a husband problem. My husband and I have 3 children. Ethan, 16 male, Barbara, 15 male, and John, 11 male. Public schooling in my country is terrible, so my husband and I, despite being lower middle class, do our best to pay for private school for all our children, but we are unable to pay in full without weighing in the pocket, so we strongly encourage our children to take a scholarship test. Ethan got 70%, Barb 40%, and John took the exam this year and got 20% off his tuition. It is worth noting that tuition increases from year to year. For example, we pay $900 for Barbara's school, while for John, $500 not counting that discount. But the discount has a condition. You cannot take the final exam at the end of the year, otherwise you lose it. Barb has always struggled with one subject, so we managed to book private lessons to help. But she ended up forgetting to turn in 2 projects. Just forgot. At the end of the year, That constituted 30% of the grade, and she did badly on the test. So she went to the final exam and consequently missed the discount. She took the scholar test but didn't get such a good discount, like 15%. We talked to her. We said that we wouldn't be able to pay for their school tuition because it's too high, and we also have to pay for school materials also. She started saying that John would go to school and thought it was unfair that she had to leave a school that had been there for 4 years, and that she had friends there too, in addition to her being at an age that's important for college, and that it's not fair for us to pay for school for John, who has almost the same discount as her and not for her. We tried to explain by saying that John's discount is low, but his tuition is less than hers. So these are different situations. Besides, that next year he can retake the exam for a bigger discount. But she could also try next year for a better discount. But at that moment, we couldn't afford hers, because she lost that discount because she forgot to send projects. It is a tense situation, as she's saying that we are playing favoritism among the children and undermining her in her most important years of school. By the way, the school is one of the cheapest and it's really good. She didn't want to do another scholarship test. Am I in the wrong here? Final exam. When the person with 4 bi-monthly grades of the year gives a grade lower than the average, the student takes a final test of the subject to pass the year. And now for some comments. Not sure if I'm understanding this correctly, the way I read it. Since Barbara did not pass into projects, she had to take a final exam and therefore forfeited last year's discounts. And now on this year's scholarship exam she only got a 15% discount? Lots of odd comments here. Why would anyone say you're in the wrong and not everyone sucks? Barbara is 15 and definitely needs to be taken responsibility for passing in her projects, especially when she knows that it would cost her family nearly half the tuition, which they are struggling to pay as is. Also, what's with all the people saying that if OP can't afford it without the discount, they shouldn't be sending any kids there? Well, obviously the answer is OP should just go out and work harder and make more money. I don't see the favoritism aspect either. OP is clearly hoping that as John spends more time in the private school, he will learn more and get bigger discounts. Meanwhile, Barbara seems to be slacking off and getting lower ones. I would never fault someone for not knowing something, but simply not passing in 30% of your grade? And on top of all of this, OP even spends more to get private tutors for her. Definitely you're not in a wrong for me. You're not in a wrong. And frankly, I'm baffled by the amount of you're in a wrong comments here. So let me get this straight. You got private lessons to help Barb in school. And Barb still A. Straight up forgot to hand him multiple school assignments. B. Did badly on another test. C. Didn't do well enough in the class in general to avoid taking the final exam. And D. Now refuses to take another scholarship test. Yes, I know you can only take them at certain times, but OP says near the end daughter doesn't want to do another one anyway. And she's complaining that her brothers aren't being punished for the consequences of her actions. That's not favoritism. If anything, it will be favoritism if you did punish your sons. It's not their fault their sister forgot to hand them multiple school assignments and did badly on a test even after private tutoring. They don't deserve to be punished for her actions, and your daughter is acting entitled. I was walking my dog right before bed and it was around midnight. One of the houses I go past has one of their cars parked directly over the sidewalk to the point where you have to walk in the snow to get around it. Like this is the worst parking I've ever seen. I decided that since this person was inconveniencing everyone in the neighborhood who wants to use the sidewalk, I didn't care that I would be inconveniencing him by ringing at this hour. And the conversation went something like this. Hi, just wanted to let you know your car is blocking the sidewalk. Oh, that's not my car. It's my buddy's. Oh, okay, is there some way you can move it? It's completely blocking the sidewalk. What are you, the city or something? No, I'm just out walking my dog and saw you were blocking the sidewalk. So you ring my doorbell at midnight just to tell me I'm blocking the sidewalk? Yeah, you can just move it, or I can just call the police and they will give you a ticket. Well, why don't you just get off my property, you jerk? Ha, that's cute. Okay then, see ya. Have a nice night. I tell my wife about it when I get home and she thinks I was a jerk because it was too late to ring their doorbell and it's not that big of a deal. But it's winter and you have to walk in the snow to get past the car. Some context. This is a completely empty residential street, so it's not a big deal to walk on the road if needed. And I didn't actually call the police to report it since I've never seen them park like that before. I just want to know if I'm justified in doing so next time. Note: the lights were on all throughout the house. It wasn't like the house was totally dark. Edit to clear thumbs up. It's illegal to park on sidewalks here, and during the winter month, they ban street parking overnight, so lots of people will park sideways on the space between road and sidewalk. This person just did a horrible job of it. This is a small Canadian town. People aren't answering their doors with guns like all the Americans here are afraid of. We get our sidewalks cleared by the city with these many plows. However, there hasn't been any snow for a couple days now. Those saying if I actually cared about others, I would have called the police. I figured they would have just given a ticket, in which case, that doesn't help those who would use a sidewalk in the morning. It would have been in everyone's best interest if he would have just moved it so the obstacle was immediately cleared and then would also be saved from a potential ticket. I don't know if they got a ticket because I didn't wake up until 10 a.m. and it's a weekday, so everyone's is already gone. And now for some comments. You're not in the wrong. Just as another user pointed out, those in wheelchairs, walkers, those with difficulty walking, and frankly anyone else could have been seriously injured by attempting to walk through the snow. It was considerate of you to knock on their door rather than immediately calling the police. Considering the response, I'd skip this step if this ever happens again and immediately calls the police. Bottom line, they are extremely inconsiderate to park on the sidewalk, and they know this. Just as much they should know that parking like a jerk risks getting a ticket. As some background, my husband is a great dad. He does a lot around our son, and I usually feel like we're doing an equal amount of work at home. But he does not do mental labor. I'm the planner, and it's a bit of a thorn in my side sometimes. On Saturday afternoons, we normally have a play date. Our friends who we saw were at another family member's house and invited us to join them. The plan was to be there roughly around 2. Our toddler usually naps from 12 to 2-ish like clockwork. We will wake him up if he sleeps late so that he can get to sleep at night. The place we were supposed to go is maybe 30 minutes away, so they knew we'd be a little late. I relayed all this information to my husband. I was not actually supposed to go with them because I had an appointment at that same time. I was excited to have an afternoon to myself. However, I get back from my appointment at 3 and my husband is still home and the toddler is still sleeping. He had gone down at 12, so had been sleeping like 3 hours. I asked my husband what was going on and why they hadn't left yet, and he looked all confused, saying that the baby was asleep. I asked him why he didn't wake him up so they could go. I guess he either didn't realize it was 3 or forgot when he went down for his nap. I got mad and told him that he was selfish. We couldn't go to someone's house 2 hours after they invited us to be there with a groggy toddler who had slept too long. And now I was losing my afternoon off and probably going to have to deal with a toddler who won't sleep later. I feel a little bad because he does take good care of our son, but unless plans are spelled out for him and constantly repeated to him, he just forgets. And now for some comments. You're not in the wrong. Being the one constantly responsible for the mental load is exhausting. Your husband is doing the whole absent-minded thing to force even more pressure on you. He's acting like a babysitter and not an equal parent. You deserve some time off, and he feigned the helpless unless I get minute-by-minute instruction. so that he got time off and then took hours away. You both need to sit down together and discuss what parenting means, and how it means being responsible for the planning and consequences of action and not just babysitting in the moment. This becomes more and more important when the kids start school too, so now is the right time to act. You're not in the wrong. I have no idea how your husband has made it this far into being a parent and not recognize that sleep schedules are very important to having happy lives. You need to make sure your husband is the one who's doing the physical labor of getting your toddler to sleep tonight. Thank you for watching and see you next time.